Welcome back to the 2002 Fruhoff Symposium. My name is Jen Handy and I am SHEP's Director of Grants and Engagement. Across the consortium, students, faculty, and staff are teaming up with their local partners to address needs in their area. These innovative projects highlight the strong community relationships schools have forged over years of collaboration. In our third and final session, we will welcome individuals from the Blue Ridge Mile Clinic, a project that brings together local judges, faculty and staff from a university, a statewide nonprofit, and undergraduate students.
Thank you, Jen, and I'll get us started. First of all, I want to thank you and the SHEP team for inviting us to the program today. It's really a joy to share space with distinguished guests like Roseanne Haggerty and Professor Janetian. Students, congratulations on completing your internships. This is a big day. It's a big 8 weeks, and there's a lot to follow, but congratulations on accomplishing what you've done so far. And I look forward to hearing from you in the sessions later this afternoon. So before we jump into our conversation, I have the joy of briefly introducing our panelists. So I'll start with Judge Robin Mayer. Judge Mayer is a 25th General District Court Judge in the Commonwealth of Virginia. She started this post in 2020, and before that enjoyed a long career working in a legal aid office. She handled civil matters for low-income clients, and so she is no stranger to the work to the clients she's working with now. I want to introduce Sarah Wilson. She's an attorney and president and CEO of Drive to Work, which is a statewide nonprofit law firm based in Richmond, Virginia. Drive to Work assists low-income and previously incarcerated people to restore their driving privileges. Prior to this job, I just want to note that Sarah has a long career as well. She's worked in the private sector. She's also worked in state government. She directed Virginia's Human Resources Department, no small task, and had the privilege of working with 8 governors in Virginia. Lawson Brantley is a rising junior at Washington and Lee. She's majoring in global politics and has minors in classics and poverty and human capability studies. Lawson plans to attend law school after undergrad, and she is a student advocate for the Blue Ridge Mile. And we have Gabe Miller. He's a rising sophomore at Washington and Lee. Between high school and college, Gabe served as an AmeriCorps service member at City Year in Baton Rouge. Since he's come to Washington and Lee, he has joined the Bonner program, which is a national service program. He intends to major in economics and philosophy. He's interested in pre-law, and he is a co-leader and a student advocate for the Blue Ridge Mile. And then my name is Fran Elrod, and I am the Associate Director of Community-Based Learning at Washington and Lee, and I like to support projects like this one.
Thank you, Fran. I guess we should start out with, what exactly is the Blue Ridge Mile Clinic?
Yeah, sure. So I can take that. So Blue Ridge Mile is in collaboration with Drive to Work, and we're a driver's licensing initiative led by undergrad students at Washington and Lee University. We work with clients in navigating the steps required to obtaining or just obtaining a valid Virginia's driver's license. So when we receive referrals from courts or other programs, Blue Ridge Mile sits down with the client and has them fill out a few different forms so that we can access their compliance summary, which is a list from the DMV of all the steps a client needs to take in order to get their driver's license. We then send those forms to our partner, Drive to Work, who pulls the compliance summaries for us. Then we sit down with the client to summarize what their steps are, because these compliance summaries are written in legal language, which can be difficult to understand. A lot of these steps needed to be taken to require different classes or fines that need to be paid. From there, we work to encourage clients to take the necessary steps by checking in every so often to see if they need any additional aid. And then hopefully in a few weeks or months, we are able to see them with a brand new Virginia driver's license.
Wonderful. You said it so quickly, like it was easy. Super easy, right? All right. So where did this idea come from? What is your origin story, if you will?
I'm going to let Judge Mayer sort of kick us off on that.
All right. So the General District Court in Virginia are the workhorse courts. They take a lot of cases through their courts every single day. It's nothing to have 300 traffic cases on a docket. And I found myself being assigned to 5 different courts. So there were a lot of traffic cases that came through them. And it was shocking to me everywhere I went, all 5 courts, every single day, there were at least 5, if not more, cases of people driving on a suspended license, suspended for a variety of reasons. There was a DUI a couple of years ago. They just never got that straight, or maybe they got caught driving without insurance and DMV suspended them. And so there's a multitude of reasons. A shocking number of people had just never had a driver's license. They're 30 or 40 years old. So when I was at Legal Aid, we were problem solvers. And it seemed to me there was no value in having people pay a fine, go to jail because they don't have a driver's license. I accepted the fact people were going to drive. So what do we do to get them to drive legally? So I set out to taking a little extra time with each of these people. The practice had been to put a fine on it, find them guilty, and send them on their way. That to me just kicks the can down the road. So I started working with individuals in the middle of the docket. Why don't you have a license? Oh, okay, the DUI, what jurisdiction was that in? How long ago? Have you got a compliance summary from DMV? Do you know what you have to do to get your license back? No one ever knew. People who had never had a license tried to take the test, they didn't pass, but there was something else hanging them up. So I realized I didn't have the kind of time on these busy dockets to, work with each of these individual people as though they were my children. So I contacted, having known Fran for years and the good work she does with the Shepherd program, I thought, I bet there's a smart group of undergrads who would be interested in sort of taking over this role and being the cheerleader for these people, helping them win their way through the system, which can be awkward and difficult, especially when the person doesn't even really know why their license is suspended. So I contacted her, and I guess she can finish the story, but boy, it took off from there.
Thank you. Am I echoing? Okay, great. So just to pick up and to note a few things from an institutional standpoint. So I work in a university setting. Judge Mayer is working in the community, in the courts, and in terms, mostly those two communities aren't intersecting, and if particularly. So the fact that this idea was generated by a community partner, I just want to sort of pull that out as being important and meaningful from an institutional perspective. So this community member, community partner has a real problem, right? Judge Mayer is in court. She's identified a real problem with the litigants that she's working with, and she trusted our institution, she trusted our program, and most importantly is trusting our students enough to sort of help with this issue. So I am honored and humbled by that fact. In terms of sort of how the process went, Judge Mayer reached out to me. In the summer of 2021, we began sort of a series of conversations getting at questions like, what can undergraduate students do and what can they not do? How would we train these students? What kind of training do they need? What would a relationship between the courts and the university look like? And there are a lot of sort of sub-questions and implications within each of those questions. So from there, I went back to my institution and I gathered input from my smart colleagues in the Shepherd program and at the law school, as well as a senior that I had been working with, who I knew was really interested in issues of reentry in our community, and who also had a lot of leadership experience on campus and had started his own sort of campus organization. So I sort of tapped my experts in my, in my community at the institution. And at that time I was grappling with questions like, and with this group, how do we responsibly prepare the students? How do we establish guardrails so that students don't bump against them and say things that might be considered legal advice? What does success look like? Where do I find an expert to consult with? Because I can't answer any of these questions. Ideally, that consultant, would be an attorney who specializes in traffic law. I was fortunate enough that J.D. King, who's a law professor, recommended that I reach out to this organization, Drive to Work, that's based in Richmond. I promptly did so, where I met Sarah Wilson. And as we know, her program and her efforts are really crucial and central to the success of this program. From there, Sarah, the judge, and myself and the students continued conversations and planning. The result is a three-way collaboration between the district court, Drive to Work, and Washington and Lee University. Fast forward to January 2022, we had a team of 10 students and myself that went through an intensive training, and then we began to offer services in Judge Mayer's courts beginning in February 2022. Finally, I just want to highlight the role that students play in the success of Blue Ridge Mile. I'm really proud of all the students who are involved in this program. I'm really impressed with their intelligence and their care and their integrity. They have put a lot into this program, both in terms of time and out of court thought. They're really the core of how this program is going to continue to evolve and develop. They're in charge of the self-governance, and I am, as an administrator, just sort of standing back and creating a container for that. So with that, I'd like to sort of pass it off to Sarah, maybe. I think there may be a question from Jen on that.
Yes,
all right. Go ahead.
Yeah, so Sarah, go ahead.
Go.
We want to really understand how Drive to Work got involved in the project, and then what really appealed to you about this specific partnership.
All right. I got a call from Fran. I didn't know Fran. I'm aware of WNL. I'm certainly aware of the court system. And she called and she said, this is what I got this call from the judge. I said, what are you trying to solve? What is it that you want to do? And she started laying out all the things you just heard earlier. And she said, is this doable? And I said, it doesn't exist today, but we can certainly create it. And there are going to be some things we'll learn along the way, but we can do it. It doesn't exist. But that's the newness, the innovation, the creative solution, because what we focus on at Drive to Work is getting people their license back so that they can be contributing members of the community, of their family, and really make a difference and feel good about themselves, which in the end reduces recidivism. So education is a very big part. And we, in fact, 5 minutes before I got on this call, I just finished a session at one of our prisons, and we're doing that remotely now because of COVID, but educating all these people that are getting released. And out of these, I had at least 2, and some of the people were in their 60s that have never had a license before. So I want to reiterate, the judge, they are everywhere. I was shocked. I guess I was naive. I was shocked at some of these things that we've learned. But when I talked to Fran, and I talked to the judge, and I heard the problems they were trying to solve, it was exciting because the people were interested. And when the people are passionate about what they want to accomplish and they're motivated, you're going to be successful. Now, if it's ho-hum, not so excited, and it's a lot of hassle, I would be careful out there. But that was not the case in this situation. To me, it was an exciting partnership with people that wanted to make a difference, and they were ready to roll, ready to move, ready to rock and roll. And it was exciting. And so then we had to create. And first of all, of course, being the lawyers, like, okay, what kind of legal documents do we have to sign to get all this? And I'll say WNL's legal department was really pretty easy. And the judge was easy to work with. We got all the knit done. It was less time consuming than I anticipated. But then it was like, okay, what students are we going to have? What are we going to teach them? But because I've been teaching these classes in the prisons, it's somewhat similar, but we had to do it from a fire hose with the students for the first time in order to get them up for the first session in February, and they did it. I'm impressed. They did hours on Sunday, multiple Sundays in a row. They were dedicated, and that is what makes this work. The students' commitment, the faculty commitment, and the courts. I can't say enough about the courts trying to make a difference and encourage people towards success. If we didn't have those kinds of things, I mean, that's all everybody pulling together as a team, working together, problem solving, hiccup here, whatever, we solve it. It gets done and we move on, and it makes a difference to the citizens that are coming into the court. I mean, I was pleased to be asked to partner with them, and I am so excited about what these students and everyone's achieved. I think it's a cool program. If you're interested in it, I'd reach out to WNL because I think it's awesome.
Thank you. One of the elements I find incredibly impressive that kind of transcends the topic, right, is that it appears you've empowered each team member to contribute their own skills and creativity, but kind of still stay within their defined role. What have you done to make this possible?
Yeah, so thank you, first of all, for having us here. And I think, as Fran mentioned, I was in AmeriCorps before I joined this program. And if anyone has experience with AmeriCorps, it's very hierarchical. There's a very clear structure. If you're a first-year member like I am, you're really not getting your feedback all the way to the top. And I remember that when I came to this program, it was completely different. So at the start, it was me, Fran, and the senior Ryan Zimmerman. We're basically all in a room together, throwing out ideas, and then calling Sarah and Judge Mayer for feedback. And I really like that structure, and we've tried to keep it as we've moved forward. So any student at any level of the program is really able to spot a problem and suggest a solution to that problem, as long as they seek out the appropriate people for feedback. And that would be Sarah Wilson or Judge Mayer or Fran, or anyone on the leadership team. Because of our students' creativity, we have an Instagram and social media accounts now. We have expanded from 1 courtroom to 2 courtrooms. And we actually have an entire student organization. We're planning speaker events, and we are creating a policy tracking initiative. So our students have done a lot. But on top of that, they're also fulfilling their day-to-day roles. And the way that we're able to get students to do the things that they need to do on a daily basis and stay within their role while also suggesting incredible ideas that are really driving our program forward is through the very, I think, unique structure that we have. We have a lot of different kind of project-based and site-based teams. And we also have, on top of that, a review process that allows students to stay on task on the daily basis, but then at certain times and at certain meeting points actually come together and review the different problems with our organization and brainstorm solutions for them. So we have an annual review period, which happens about every May. We also have weekly meetings where we can brainstorm and suggest solutions to different problems that we have. And so that's kind of how we allow our students to, or including me, to kind of use their different skills and creativities to make incredible new additions to the program, while also making sure that each of our students are focused on their different goals and their different roles that they have.
Thank you. I think it's also really apparent to anybody watching this how much respect each of you has for the other folks. The excitement that you're getting from each other, the respect for the expertise and innovation coming from all sides. And that is huge and very obvious. So Lawson and Gabe, what drew you as students to this project specifically? I feel like there were a lot of opportunities to get involved. What about this really appealed to you?
Yeah, so I just kind of came across Blue Ridge Mile in a meeting with Fran about what I was going to be doing this summer for my Shepherd internship. And once she was like, there's this new program, I don't really know what it's going to look like, but she kind of instantly had me hooked with just very general details. And later that day, I just immediately registered for the class. And I'm also a swimmer at Washington and Lee, so my practices and meets keep me pretty busy, which is why Blue Ridge Miles' flexible schedule just works really well. And like Fran mentioned, I'm on the pre-law track, so I wanted to find a program to join that would allow me to learn more about the court systems and had lots of client interaction, which Blue Ridge Mile provides both.
So I'll say for me, I really like the different leadership opportunities and the opportunities for growth that were presented in this program. In the time that I've been here, we've expanded the amount of courtrooms that we're operating in. We've expanded the services that we're providing. We've expanded from just a service-based organization to a service organization with a student organization that is planning to hold on-campus speaker events, track Virginia state policy, and do a bunch of incredible stuff. So I really like having the opportunity to take part in service that is constantly growing and expanding and giving students the opportunity to lead that growth and expansion.
Thank you. It's always helpful to hear what pulls people in. I wanted to give each of our panelists a chance to answer if they want to expand on like, what have you gained or what is gained in your area by participating in this project? You want to start, Judge Mayer? I mean, anything to add?
Sure. I mean, Fran mentioned earlier she was humbled and honored. Well, that's a big club, because the fact that these smart undergrads would be willing to help out, for the most part, you know, a group of people in our society that are often marginalized because of lack of education or money or opportunity or whatever, that's huge. It's a great interaction for, you know, a pretty well-endowed university to do for local people. And the optics of it look great. The fact that I can be a part of it is fantastic, because people are in court seeing other people come in with their shiny valid license, and we carry on and hoopla and trying to figure out something I can do within the judicial canons that would really celebrate it. And other people who maybe don't have a license. I had some random litigant in the middle stand up and say, hey, what's that number for Blue Ridge Mile? Well, they weren't here for a license case, but they must have a family member or something. And I thought, okay, this is so satisfying, because I know people are going to drive. I will not rest until every driver in Virginia is licensed. That's how it's going to go.
Fran or Sarah?
Fran?
I'll go. For me, I think what's so satisfying is the way that the partnership has come together, and the fact that we've gotten to a place where our community partners, and I think this is true in this case, and I think it's true in other cases as well. Like, we're getting to a place in our community where if there is a need, that the community partners actually know, understand, trust that like WNL has these incredible resources called students and a big, a big sort of support around them, right? And that these students are eager to learn and engage, and that I like serving as the conduit that helps to connect all of the little dots, and then just make sure they're connected and things are going well. Like, that to me is very satisfying, and that we are satisfying real needs in our community.
For me, it's multi-level. One is the innovation and creating a program that will help solve a problem, which I think it is doing. So that's particularly satisfying, because it fits right in what I do every day in our mission. But there's another layer to that. It's the people. And it's all the people that you interface with that are your partners here. I love working with the students. I'll get a call, it's Gabe, or he'll say, hey, can I get a call? Boom. And you hear about what they're thinking about and what they're doing. So you understand, and it's a coaching opportunity and mentoring opportunity for people beginning their careers. And so to me, it's multi-level. It's helping the clients, helping the citizens, but it's also having some impact on the people that you work with. And it's more friends, more people. And this group is so terrific. I would like to clone them, and I would like them to help lead the way to set this up in other colleges across the state, because we're a statewide resource. And if I could get this group and their energy and their focus and their attention across the state and other institutions, think about the reach we can have for the community. Reading DMV statements is not for the faint of heart. And so if we can just get everyone to understand what they need to do, that's half the battle, let alone a coach that's 3 things that keep them down. They're not motivated to do it. It's money holds them back because they can't pay for everything. And I call the third one mom, because it's that motivator, that encourager, that pusher. And that's what the students do. They call up, hey, were you able to take care of that today? What are we going to get on it? And so they're motivating them, they're following up. And it's that kind of work that will make a difference. And so I think it's a fantastic opportunity. I'd like to clone them across the state, and I can't wait, because one of the other things that we have them do is doing the data analysis. What kind of problems do they have? What are the results? What's the so what about this program? Did people get their license back? And if not, what's the headache? We had one client I know that Gabe was working with, when I said, you know, it's presenting this way, but there's some major underlying problems that need to be addressed. And so one of the things the students are doing is working on resource books and other things, other outreach to community partners, and how can they bring everyone together. So it's not, in my view, they're coming in because of the driver, they're presenting with a driver's license problem, but they've got so many other things, and these students are connecting them with other things that they need. I mean, we're talking about people that need to get a septic tank replaced. I mean, it's that kind of stuff, but they see the problem. It opens up their eyes to what's going on in the community, what the citizens are dealing with, and they get to be problem solvers on a one-on-one, case-by-case basis, and they're doing it. And I think it's super exciting, and I'm glad you're recognizing the program for innovation, because this is the only one in the country that I'm aware of, and they had the courage to move forward. It's a time commitment, but the results are like, wow.
Great. Gabe or Lawson, anything to add? You don't have to if you don't want to.
I would just kind of back up Sarah's point. I mean, we're excited to kind of step in areas that the court and other organizations can't. One of the great things about student organizations is that we're very, very adaptable. And if we don't know how to do something right now, we have a lot of different resources available to us to learn how to do them. And we can also recruit people from the student body with those specialties. So we've really tried to adapt and kind of modify ourselves to the different problems that have been presenting in the courts. So from starting with just, we're going to help you go through the DMV compliance summary, to now we're actually going to help you go through the compliance summary. We can also refer you off to different mental health resources and financial resources. To, I think, hopefully we're trying to even do, a little bit of financial advising at one point. So kind of our ability to really adapt to the problem that's facing us, I think, has been a great perk.
Wonderful. We have a couple of minutes. If anybody has a question, whether about the work they're doing or their process, just raise your hand in the chat. And I'm hoping that I know how to see it. Anyone? I think everybody might be ready for lunch. All right. Well, thank you. And I want to thank everyone for coming to this year's symposium. I hope you enjoyed the sessions and learned something new. I know I did. This is the end of the symposium. If you're attending this afternoon's closing conference, you will find the Zoom links for the individual rooms on the room assignment PDF. Thank you again for coming, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.